sparkles. Aren't they amazing? I love it. And little cross necklace. That's so dainty and so cute.
It's
You're
tiny.
so cute. It's tiny, but that's okay. Not everything has to be big and fun like Mom's earrings, you know?
Yeah.
We got a flower patch behind us. My 8 dozen roses that Mr. got me last week for my anniversary. Right?
Yep.
Yep. He thought it was 4 packages. He just bought 4 packages and he didn't realize there was 2 dozen in each package.
Oh.
So I got 8 dozen roses. So here we are. It's Thursday. Now, it's not snowing in Canada.
For once.
But it's warmer, isn't it, Madison?
Yep.
And we are excited about that, aren't we? Woo, woo, woo. Because we can see spring in the balance, right?
Yeah.
And it's Easter weekend. We're celebrating, you know what? Our Jesus, our Christ, our risen Savior, right?
Yeah.
It's not about the bunny.
No.
It's about Jesus dying
All
on
the
the cross.
bunnies are adorable. It's not
Although
about the bunnies.
Bunnies are adorable, Madison says. So
It's not about that.
we just wanted to share some things. You know, I've been writing this week about Caregivers Journal and trying to encourage caregivers out there. Because you know what? Sometimes it's really hard being a caregiver.
Yep.
And being Madison's mom for so many years, there's little tips and tricks that we've picked up along the ways. Oh, yeah, right. She tells me what I need to do. So we have to promote the business page of y'all going over there and liking the business page. And do you know what I actually might do, Madison? I actually might share it. If you can just say, what's a greeting that you can say to everybody right now? Anything?
We're just going to basically share 4 things.
Oh, shaka-laka-laka-laka-laka. Just ignore my volume that's up. There we go. We're all good. We're all good. We're all good, Maddie.
Hi, Lorna.
Hi, Lorna. How are you doing? Okay, I got it. What are you doing? Oh, my goodness. She confuses me.
No,
okay.
Wait.
Wait. Okay, Madison. Okay.
Is this one?
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Okay.
There we go.
Awesome. There we go. We're back in business.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Our tech, we need to practice all this tech stuff, don't we, Madison? So, we want everybody to go on over and the Connie Mannering business page that we are setting up. Thank you so much for liking and following. So we're trying to move some things over there so we're able to do new things because Facebook doesn't always let us do everything we want here without throwing us in jail. Or censoring us. So
you in jail.
Me in jail, right. So just forget that. It's on my page. So it's me that's going to jail. Even though your face might be on here with me, you're coming to jail.
It's still your account. So you go to jail.
Anyways, so welcome, Lorna. Thanks for joining us. And we just want to encourage everybody to go on over there. I have no volume. You can't hear.
Do you have your volume up on your device, though?
I would check your device then. Because when I had it on my Facebook, it was coming up. So
if that doesn't work, shut it, X right out of it, and then get rid of that tab, and then open it again.
Okay, that's from Madison's tech team. So try that. I think we have, Gordon Phyllis are watching. We have volume. Just give us a thumbs up. I'm sure we do because it was a good morning.
Or just the volume symbol or something so we know that the volume's there.
Okay, I think we do because it came up on my page when I shared it. So anyway, let's get into it, everybody. So we're so excited that the sun is shining here because you know what? It hasn't really been shining a lot, has it, Madison? It has been a cold, dark, dreary winter here in Canada, and we're ready to bust out, aren't we?
I don't mind the winter. It's enough.
It's enough. What's the date today? April the 17th. We've had enough.
Yeah.
We've had enough. We're calling in the sunshine.
No more snow.
No more snow. We already did that 2 weeks ago, didn't we? We sang our No More Snow song. Anyway, so we wanted to come here today and just bring you a little bit of a script from our life, in the past and what we've been through. But who did we see on Friday night? As long as they didn't hit the comments or write something because the volume goes out, I'm not sure why. So if I leave it, then I can hear it. Okay, woo! Well, we're glad you can hear us, Lorna. That is very important.
That's the main thing. That means the volume is working.
That is the main thing. Who did we go see on Friday night?
Kim.
Real Talk Kim was in Michigan. So we went to Bethesda Church and heard and saw Real Talk Kim. It was awesome. Over 40 people got saved, didn't they? And we got to pray with people. Madison took lots of pictures for people.
I basically had phones handed to me, and I had no idea who they belonged to.
I know, but we just kept taking pictures and handing them back, didn't we? So it was super fun. And you know what?
I felt like the paparazzi just won.
I know, hey?
It was like I didn't know whose phone belonged to who.
But you did awesome. You did well, right? It was awesome. So what are we going to talk about today, Madison? She's got her notes, so just don't mind us if we refer to our notes because it keeps us on task. Woo!
What?
Shabam from India, welcome.
God doesn't waste the chaos.
God doesn't waste the chaos. So in the middle of our mess, God can bring us joy and show us things, can he?
Yeah.
And we're living proof, right? Because, man, have we had a messy journey, Madison?
It wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy, was it?
It was like a movie every day.
It was like a movie every day. And it's something we don't talk about, but we're learning to talk about more.
It's like one of those scenes.
Morning
from
India. Woo! Welcome, Peggy. Thanks for joining us.
It's like the really suspenseful or like dreary scenes sometimes. And I'm like, I don't even know how to even...
It's true, isn't it? Sometimes we look back and it's like, how did we even get here?
Yeah, that.
Right? It's just like, or how did God even bring us through this, right? It's been kind of crazy, eh? We went through back-to-back seasons of appointments, long waiting in the emergency rooms, right, Madison? Therapy overload, major meltdown, hers and mine. But guess what? God was in it all. And I'm telling you, I saw your beautiful anniversary posters. Oh, thank you so much. I know, 8 dozen roses. Who would have thought, eh? Had to do that for Canada. Eh, Madison? So we had, you know what, especially in the early years, it was a lot. There was a lot of appointments. There was a lot of assessments. There was a lot of, smart people wanting to get involved to be helpful. And we appreciated that. But you know what? It was Jesus that got us through.
Unless they actually lived it. Yeah, I don't mind the smart people being there. It's just as long as they lived it, they're not really going to fully... They might have a general idea, but unless they're actually within the same situation or the actual...
When you live it, it's different, right?
Yeah.
So what we learned over the years...
You can have all the knowledge in the world but no experience, yet you don't understand.
Right. So lots of times what we found over the years was there's a lot of textbook smart people out there, isn't there?
But experience-wise...
Right. So it's always different when you read about it in a textbook, but when you actually have to put feet to it in real life, they're not going to understand the same way. That's so true, isn't it, Peggy?
Because experience and knowledge kind of goes hand in hand.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
Like, you could know how to do something, but until you actually do it, you're just going to have a general idea, and you're not going to understand it until you actually do it.
It's different hands-on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you, Lorna. Thank you. So number one point is God doesn't waste the chaos. And we're living proof of that. Do you want to read the scripture verse that we had?
Romans 8:28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him.
Woo! So he works together for our good. So when we love him. So you know what? Sometimes we feel like overwhelmed in the middle of that mess, in that messy middle. It can be so overwhelming. You're like, God, where are you? Like, do you even see me? But you know what? There is some beautiful refining sometimes in that messy middle. And we both found that through, how old are you, Madison?
I don't know. 22?
You're 22.
Oh, I thought you meant
20.
like...
Yeah, you're 22. So for 22 years, we've seen God be in that messy middle, haven't we? I wrote down, I remember when we went to Walmart and I thought, And when Madison thought that the Walmart greeter was there just for her and was her new best friend, and she wanted to give him a hug and take him shopping with us, thinking, okay, this is really cool. We got our own personal shopper. So every time we go into Walmart, she would just, and she was just young, like just a little toddler. And let me tell you, I saw those harness things that people would use on their kids, and I thought, oh, that's just so barbaric. And, but then, I was one of those moms that had to use it because I couldn't keep up with her. She would be lost. She would be gone. She was so fast. She would run like a dash. She would come in and she would greet that Walmart greeter. She'd give him a big hug. She was convinced that, he was there just for her. And then she would just run in. She'd get lost under the racks all the time. She would hide under the racks and in the clothing. And all I could see was her little feet. So thank the Lord I had that harness on her that I could keep track of her. Because she was way too fast for me. Grace got her a job at working at grocery store. So proud of her. She's come a long way. Nothing is getting in her way.
Yay!
Yay! That's awesome. That's awesome.
I also fixed it. Yay!
Oh, Lorna fixed it. Good job, Lorna. Anyway, there was always clean up on aisle 3 days, wasn't there, Madison, in the Miracle Zone?
No.
We had some wild days, but nothing that God couldn't use us for, right? And there was always meltdowns, wasn't there, Madison?
Yep.
But we got through the meltdowns, didn't we? And you know what, Madison, for anybody out there that knows anything about autistic kids or, people that struggle with sensory stuff, and there's all kinds of things. So when you're in public, Madison, what were the number one things that would bug you?
Loud noises.
I think you have to let Apollo go. He's distracting you. Loud noises and people, right? And bright lights sometimes. Okay. So... You know what? You can go let him outside maybe.
Sorry, just one
That's
second.
all right. She can do that. So sometimes the loud noises would bother her in crowds. Bright lights. When the music was just a lot, or when there's a lot of people. When you were shoulder to shoulder with a lot of people. And she would start getting stressed, right? So she had something with a lot of autistic kids do is sensory processing disorder. Just pull up, and that is something. Just pull up your chair there, sorry. That's something that she struggled with. So as her mom, I would try to learn, sensory things that would help her. So sometimes it was as simple as giving her a tight squeeze, a tight hug, or just rubbing on her back or rubbing her hair. Or she would always, what did you always carry with you?
I can't remember now.
Stuffed animal, like everywhere you went.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, always had a stuffed animal. So she always had something soft to touch so that if she needed to feel calm, that was
sometimes it's even her scarf.
Right. Sometimes it was even her scarf. It was me going over her face like this. It was anything that we could do, to bring that calm sensory wise to Madison. So she went from up here and she would just come down.
Because every child has a different toolbox.
Every child has a different toolbox.
And that's number 2.
Yeah. And that's point number 2. She's jumping the gun here. So every child has a different toolbox. Point number 2, right? Yeah. So Madison wasn't like any other kids. She was exactly how God designed her to be. She had a photographic memory, which I talked about in my post today, and she sorted books like a librarian. And loved numbers just for fun. So when she was really young, when she was a toddler, she wasn't into playing with toys. She wasn't into playing with dolls.
I would just organize them into different categories.
She would organize and sort everything. Everything was about numbers and letters and organizing and sorting. So you know what? And I had to just let her be. She loved it. It was her thing. That's what made her happy. And, as she got older and she got her own computer at school, then she turned her sorting into online. So she would have literally a pages of 1,000 Webkins listed. And she would have all of them sorted and grouped into all different categories, how her mind thought. And she ended up loving Pinterest because it was like a visual file, right? To the point where you had 30,000 people following you on Pinterest, and she deleted it because she didn't want anyone following her.
So then I reopened it, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, now you reopened it, and not all those people are. So, because she likes to be private that way, right?
Do you
want to talk about this one?
I used to go online and order library books, and then I'd go pick them up and drag them all home. There's probably 10 or 20 of them.
Oh, sometimes 40 or 50, I'm sure.
Just so I could sort them. I didn't even care if I read them. I just organized them.
So you went online, and you'd always order the maximum, wouldn't you? Yeah, she'd always order the maximum books that you could online at the library. And then, you know what? They would leave a message. Madison, your library books are in. She would walk down the street, because at the time we lived in Petrolia, a small Victorian town.
So it's literally just like down the street.
And the library was just down the street. So she would walk down to the library, down the street, pick up her library books, and literally drag them home. And I am sure sometimes that bag was way heavier than her. But as her mom, I found out that kids with sensory processing disorder, it is like a relief to them when they lift heavy things.
So like growing up, and when I'd have a weighted blanket on my bed, because it just is like.
You still have a weighted blanket,
Yeah,
right?
I still do.
Yeah, because she finds that helps her. So she always had the weighted blanket. And at school, something that they would do, and that I had to suggest, because sometimes she just needed a little commercial break from the classroom. It would just be getting too much. My girls have been using Pinterest and bead wire. Oh,
unless that's the board or something.
Okay, cool. So what we would do is they filled a backpack for her and got her to carry the backpack and heavy books down the hall and pretend that she was dropping it off to, make a stop at the principal's office, whatever. You probably might not even remember that because you were so little, but it really helped her break up her day. So she would do that in the morning and the afternoon, and it was like a special assignment that they gave her to do. So she felt great because she was doing this special assignment, but it also helped her kind of decompress and de-escalate if she was getting stressed or anxious, because it's a long time for somebody to sit in a class for a few hours, right? And hold their attention. So she got to have that free pass to go out and walk, carry the books, deliver them here, there, and everywhere, and then go back to class. So it was much like the trip to the library when she would order the maximum, and they all knew her there. They all knew Madison, man. They had her books ready and waiting, and they loved when she come to pick them up because she had a whole stack, right? And she'd drag them home, and then she would sort them. I have a fleece lined blanket that cuddles me back when I have a power nap. Oh, isn't that awesome? We all have our stuff, don't we? So those were interesting times. So we talk about the toolbox. It wasn't broken, it was brilliant, right? So the world tries to tell us when somebody's broken and what they should be like, just like we talked about the smart people.
Like, there's different tools for different jobs. You might need a hammer to do one job, but you also might need a screwdriver to do a different one. So each, I don't know where I'm going here.
Well, there's just different tools for different things, right? So when Madison was younger, my role especially became, to know what she needed and how to use that, in what capacity, and where she needed to use those special tools, and to celebrate that was fine, and that she grew up knowing that she might need different tools in her toolbox, but it was totally fine to celebrate the tools that she needed in her toolbox to make her life go well, right? Which is the same for all of us today, right? All of us adults, all of us big people that, didn't really want to grow up, but here we are. That's how life happens, right? We all need different tools in our toolbox to help us do well. And God made us each differently. We're each fearfully and wonderfully made. We're unique. We're limited edition, right? And what I might need is not going to do a hill of beans for Madison, right? And just like what she needs, it's not what I need. So it's just like, that ain't working for me. So, right, that can make me stressed if I try to take something out of her toolbox and use it. And it's like, this ain't for me. So as her mom, it was really finding the things. Oh, that was our verse too. I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I'm sorry, Madison.
Right.
Where is it found?
Psalm 139:14.
Psalms 139:14. So we didn't fit the molds. We broke them. And we sparkled with it, didn't we, Madison?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what that part is.
And you know what? The doctors and the smart people wanted us to do everything on spreadsheets, but kind of sometimes we just had to throw that out the window.
Because sometimes spreadsheets can be a little much.
Well, it's a little much for a little girl that's growing up with stuff, and I needed hands-on, right? And I couldn't carry the sheet around with me doing assessments all day long. It wasn't.
It just was
doable.
A little much.
So we just had to kind of throw the spreadsheets, and you know what? Sparkle and shine and lean on Jesus, knowing that He has great plans for our lives, right?
Because you're also stronger than you think.
That's point 3. You're stronger than you think. Because some people would say to me, Connie, how are you doing it? Like, this is not good. You know, I had people come out and tell me that Madison should go in a home. She's ruining your life. And, you know, when it's your child, there is nothing you won't do. You will do absolutely everything. You'll go to the ends of the earth. You will stay up all night if you have to. You will advocate and talk to whoever you need to. You will call meetings, and you have this inner roar that comes up that you might have been silent before. But when your kid's involved, you know what? You're messing with the wrong thing, right? So I found that really happened with me with Madison. Let me see. Caregivers, parents, anyone walking through a hard time, you're stronger than you think. I had to get very creative. Now, sometimes I'm convinced that that's how God linked me to Madison and how come he picked me. Because God knew the complexities of what Madison would have and what she would need and what she would need in her toolbox. A spider web of complexities. A spider web of complexities,
but right? They all connect to one thing.
That's right. And I loved her, and I wanted to help her and see her excel. So I would always pray for God to give me the downloads to be able to help her. So I would print out cards to hand to people in public explaining the situation, what was happening. If she was having a meltdown and people were staring, and that was not helping me, obviously.
I hate getting stared at. Like, whenever people stare at me, I shut down because I don't.
Right, and who does? So that was something we creatively tried to navigate through. So they were just the size, you know, they were the size of a little business card, and I would just hand them out to people. They could read it, and, you know.
They basically went on their way.
Because they knew everything was okay. Because sometimes it could get pretty stressed, and they're probably thinking, should we call the police, or what's happening here, right? And I had to learn how to creatively restrain Madison for both of our safety. That was hard. As a mom, that was something I don't like to do. I didn't like to talk about, and I didn't like to have to put that into practice in public. But I had to protect her, and I had to protect me, and I had to protect everybody else. And look at how far you've come, right? But when you're growing up and your brain is developing, and you got a young little girl with all these emotions running through and not knowing how to navigate that, it was very difficult. So getting creative and getting downloads from Jesus, of course, was very important. And of course, I accessorized. When I was too tired to wash my hair, I just kept showing up. Not because I was strong, but it was because God was strong through me. So I learned to be like, you know what? It doesn't matter. If I don't get my hair washed today, it doesn't matter. It's not life or death, right? What's more important is Madison is getting the tools that she needs. So me having that time to wash and dry my hair and get in the shower and all that, I learned to love a bath at the end of the night when she was in bed, because that's what I had time for. So I got really creative. I wore ball caps, big hats, fascinators, you know, dry shampoo.
I wear ball caps. I just don't wear the...
Yeah, because you're you and I'm me. So anyway,
we're
it's
both
just
creative,
like
just
God
different.
Gives you grace for whatever you need, right?
And we're both creative, just different ways.
Okay, that's right. Okay, do you want to read the next verse?
2 Corinthians 12:9. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness.
So his grace is sufficient for us, and we certainly got his grace, didn't we, Madison?
Yeah.
Because we are both still here, and look what the Lord has done. Woo, woo, woo! Look what the Lord has done. He healed my body. He touched your mind. He saved me just in time. I'm gonna praise his name. Sorry, I hear a song and words that connect, and I just get a song in my spirit. And
I'm used to her by now, so.
I know. I just sing it. It just rises up. So even when I wanted to give up on myself, I didn't. I knew that Madison needed me. I knew that God was using me as a conduit to change her life, and I had to listen and pay attention. She's now controlling my notes and her notes. Hey, that organizational thing you do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the fourth point, Maddie?
Laughter really is the best medicine.
Laughter really is the best medicine. So last but not least, laughter really matters. So if you're not laughing, you're not breathing. So some of my favorite memories came from the most chaotic moments. Like when the Walmart greeter almost became the therapy support person, right? Like when we were at downtown Disney and we're having a meltdown because it's way too sensory overload. You know, you pay all this money.
I literally just wanted to cry.
I'm going to take my child to Disney.
No, don't.
It's going to be such a fun experience. I should have known better, you know. I had never been to Disney myself. I was a farm.
I did. I was still freaked out.
grew up on the farm, born and raised on the farm. I'd never been to Disney, so I think part of the thing was I wanted to go to Disney. I thought every kid wants to go to Disney. Every kid wants to celebrate and all. And then I found out, Disney's just a little.
Although it was the castle part that really threw me off with the fireworks.
It was the castle part and the fireworks and too many characters.
Too many people.
Too many people. So she had a meltdown in the middle of Disney. And you know what? I ended up going in the family bathroom there. She had a meltdown. And honestly, you know those lanyards that they give you there? That it had pass to the key to the world thing and all the free passes to the park
all
and
the
thousands of dollars, right? Hanging around my neck. She ripped it off and she flushed it down the toilet. I'm not kidding you.
No.
I just thought of this in the chaotic moment. And I'm telling you, this girl right here, all dressed up in her bling. What did I do? I got down on my knees. I put my hand in that toilet, and I prayed in the name of Jesus. Let me grab that. You were there.
I know I was there. I threw it.
And you know what happened? God has got a sense of humor. So in the middle of that chaos, you know what happened? That card got stuck in the bottom of the toilet and it was flapping like this. It's like, catch me quick, right? I mean, I grabbed on that card for dear life and I was like, thank you, Jesus, because all my information was in there. I thought, what would I do if that just went flushed away? I'm telling you, it was chaotic. We sat there in the bathroom at downtown Disney. We all had a cry. It was a meltdown moment for sure. But you know what? We got through it. And we still come out laughing, right, Madison? We learned to laugh in those chaotic moments, didn't we?
Yeah.
And when we got through it, it was just like, thank you, Lord, we made it through another day. And literally sometimes, you know, getting through the day was such a job, right? Like the things that were on your mind, it was just like constantly just things popping up. I don't know if you can think of anything to share.
No, the thing that randomly keeps popping up, it was in the back of my mind, and then it kind of lights itself like a light bulb. Mm-hmm. I random times, it's just...
Did you read Proverbs 17:22?
I was going to.
Okay, let's read it.
A cheerful heart is good medicine.
Cheerful heart is good. So look at us now, Madison. We're still got cheerful hearts and we're good medicine. And look at our blingy cups that are on the website. Ooh, beauty, beauty, beauty. And I got these bracelets are all on there. It's just a little sidebar for the website. So today we wanted to make you smile. We wanted to encourage you and remind you that you're not alone. So there's caregivers out there that, you know what, sometimes you're living on zero sleep. I know for years I got 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night. It was totally supernatural what I was able to do. But you know what? God doesn't bring you something that he's not going to bring you through it, right? He will give you all the knowledge and wisdom and tokens and everything that he needs to pull you through it. You know, just like the footprints in the sand home. You know what? God is going to give you all the tools in your toolbox that you need to get through. So not only did God give me creative ideas for Madison of what she needed in her toolbox and what would help her excel. And sometimes, you know, it was the strangest things. I'm not going to lie. Like sometimes it was really weird things. Sometimes it was just like a little fuzzy keychain on her bag, right? That you could, or your backpack to go to school that you could grab onto. You know, do you remember those? It was like putty that you just like.
Remembrance Day was freaky.
What happened on Remembrance Day? Remind me.
No, remember when I was little and I had to bring that little dinosaur thing with me?
Okay, yeah. So she had all kinds of things that we called fidgets, right? So there's all kinds of things she would have to have in her hands to keep her busy because it was very hard for her to sit still for a very long time.
Or stand still.
But, God just would give us ideas, and it got us through that season. There was even a season where she'd pick her fingers so bad they were raw and bleeding, and her knuckles were getting deformed. And I was like, Lord, what can I do? And what I did, I went to every thrift store I could think of, and I bought all the little gloves like that people used to wear for Easter that no one wears anymore. And Madison had a pair of gloves to match every outfit. We probably had 40 or 50 pairs of them.
I don't have them.
And I would wash them up, and she would have one to match every outfit, and she would wear them to school, tucked in under her shirt, and that helped her from, not picking her hands so much and not like destroying her skin. It was just little things like that in the seasons that we went through. To keep her on a schedule, and we would draw our own books so that she could read about stuff ahead of time, because, she didn't want to go anywhere new. Hello, what are you doing today?
Sorry.
She didn't want to go anywhere new without, learning what is that going to be like? Who's going to be there? What's going to happen there? When are we eating? What are we eating? All these things that, as an adult, you just carry on in life, and you don't even think of these things. But all of these things were something that she was getting stuck in her mind. And I always say, like playing ping pong back and forth, like thinking about all these thoughts, right? So we need to keep showing up, don't we, Madison?
No.
We need to keep believing. And don't forget that your miracle might just be around the corner. So I always had said to Madison, we're not going to stop believing and praying for your miracle. And, when I got healed of cancer, what did you always say to me? You said, well, when's God going to heal me?
That's true.
Right? I want my miracle. Right? And I said to you that, we were not going to give up, right?
Yeah.
That your miracle could be just around the corner. And what story and testimony did I always give you?
There's something about the lady in the wheelchair.
Lady in the wheelchair. So Delia Knox, if you guys go and you Google Delia Knox miracle testimony, you'll see a glorious, beautiful testimony that was just the miraculous that God touched and healed Delia Knox. That she was in a wheelchair for, I think it was 21 years. 20 years. And
I said, I don't want to wait 20 years.
God touched her. And I said, you know what, Madison? Sometimes we never know when our miracle's at the corner. And I always would give her the analogy of Delia Knox that, what if Delia Knox gave up at 19 years? And she missed her miracle and she was still in a wheelchair. What if she gave up at 10 years? Sometimes we give up on things so easily, right? And one thing I found out about myself that, I'm going to cry talking about this, is that I felt like God picked me to be Madison's mom because he knew I wouldn't give up. He knew I wouldn't give up. He knew I wouldn't take no for an answer. And he knew that, I would just keep pushing forward. And when God is our source, it gives you that supernatural strength and power that you can do anything. Because I knew God wanted the best for Madison. I knew that he had great plans for her. I knew that he wouldn't have picked her to come in my life and me to be her mom and her to be my daughter if he didn't have great plans for her to do. So we just kept pushing through. And just like Delia Knox's miracle, how old were you when God touched you?
20.
Madison was 20. And
I didn't want to wait 20 years.
She didn't want to wait 20 years. But you know what? She did wait 20 years. And that's when she got her miracle. And I laugh because I think for so many years I said that testimony and story about Delia Knox. And to not give up on your miracle and keep pulling it down from heaven. Keep praying. Keep pushing in.
I didn't even know half of that was happening. And then boom.
Boom. That's how God works, right?
Yeah.
And now look at your life. Boom. Boom. You're working full time at Goodwill. And I think it's so funny because also when Madison was young, when she would sort and organize and, that was just her thing. She would just sort and organize things and love to group things together that were the same. And I was like, you know what, Madison, God will use that in the future.
The funny thing is, I do that now.
That's right. And I just thought, wow, look at that. God, he just makes things come full circle. And that's what she's doing at the Goodwill. She is sorting, she is organizing, she is grouping things together. And anybody that goes shopping with Madison anywhere, I mean, she can scout out something. I'm telling you.
This is detail oriented.
She's detail oriented. She knows. And she's also seen name brands and good quality stuff so much that she can
From you.
she can pick it out, right? And you know what? She knows she can shop for me and find stuff that no one else can, because that's a gift that she has, that God's given her. And you know what? If there's something to be had there, I mean, if you're going thrift shopping with Madison, you can bet that she is going to find the Gucci scarf, the Louis Vuitton, whatever it is.
Whatever.
She will find it for sure.
Or even if it's just shiny.
Even if it's just shiny, right? So that's what we wanted to jump on, and just thought, you know what? In the chaos, just try to get through and embrace it. We don't like going through the valleys. We don't like going through the chaos. I'm telling you, I did not enjoy going through those chaotic moments. And they were
chaos before the calm.
There's chaos before the calm. And I didn't particularly enjoy it. But out of my love for Madison and out of my perseverance, knowing that, you know what, God is the one that has the final say. And we kept pushing through, and here we are today. And you know what? It's just been a glorious story of what God can and will do. And He's just so faithful. And, you know, like my song always is. What is that, Madison?
Remind me.
Little is much when God is in it. So we lived over 20 years knowing that, you know what? It doesn't matter about anything else. Just that if God is in it. Because if God is in it, we're going to win it. Right? Yep. And it doesn't matter if your dishes got done at night, if your laundry's caught up. It's nice to have all those things done. It's nice to make your bed in the morning and, you know, have all that fresh, clean house. That is all amazing and great. But you know what? Sometimes it doesn't fly like that. And when you're a caregiver, sometimes that is just something that's in the back of your mind as a dream. That it's just like it seems so far away that it's never attainable. But when you put somebody else's needs before yours, and you know that God is going to bless you, because you know
put yourself in their shoes.
That's what I had to do every day. I'd be like, Lord, you know what? You got to help me get through tomorrow. These are the things I have to get done tomorrow. But you know what? She is my priority, and being her mom and being the best mom that I can, and you know, basically to have a child with special needs is special. But then when you make sure that what you're doing is teaching that child who Jesus is and where they are going to spend eternity when they know him, that's the biggest thing in the whole entire world, right?
Yeah.
So knowing that Madison loves Jesus, smile, Maddie, you look so sad. Knowing Madison loves Jesus and where she's going to spend eternity, that makes my heart happy. That makes my heart full, right? And that she has done so well and excelling where she is today. Right? Anything else to add?
No.
No, why are you seeming so sad? So I want to encourage anybody out there that's a caregiver, helping out, look after anyone. My hair is getting caught in her sequins. Woohoo! That's right. They come first, right, Peggy? And when you live that, it's a whole new world. And you just have to let it go. Right, Maddie? Right?
Yes.
Like when we're at downtown Disney and the key to the world is flopping in the bottom of the toilet, and I'm praying in Jesus' name, do not flush down there. Because I'm thinking, there's no way you're going to find my credit card and the key to the world down the sewer system at Disney. But you know what? God made me get it just in time. And how many times in our life, Madison, can we say, it was just in time? It was just in time. Because I always say God's never early. He's never late. He's just on time every time. And man, living, we have story after story after story that God was just on time. Right?
Yeah.
And Madison is going to tell me to wrap it up.
Hey!
Because she doesn't like it when it gets too long. Right, Maddie?
I thought they keep you on track.
You're keeping me on track. So, and also, I didn't talk about my blog. So
or your business page either.
I did talk about the business
page.
But going over to Connie Mannering, if you could like and follow my business page, would be awesome.
Same picture of the book behind us.
Share our stuff, share videos, private message people, whatever. That all helps get the word out and the good news, that we brag on Jesus, that we tell everybody about our stories and our testimonies, and we give God all the glory, because in the end, that's what we want, is to people to know him and come closer to him and spend eternity with him. So if you're not saved, you can be saved. You just call in the name of Jesus and you shall be saved, and it'll change your life. Right, Maddie?
Yeah.
And you pray that prayer and reach out to us if anybody has any questions. We're just
Reach out to her.
Reach out to her, because Madison does not like private messaging anyone. So.
No, I just don't. Well,
the other thing
reasons,
was on my website is everything is Connie Mannering. So we have a website. On my website, my blog has launched there. So if you like reading blogs, and the one this week was about Madison's journey, and that's why I've kind of been writing some Facebook posts about that. But you know what? You can head on over to my blog and read that. We're coming out with, we're working on a newsletter that's going to be coming out soon. Anybody want to, leave their details to be on our newsletter for mailing out? That would be awesome. And we just want to keep encouraging people, right? Encourage people in the Lord. So also we've set up a YouTube channel, because Facebook is deleting all the live.
Being fun.
Yeah, so they're deleting all the live videos. So if you go on over to YouTube, you can also find us on YouTube just under Connie Mannering, and give us a like and a follow there and subscribe or whatever you do. I don't even know. But that would be awesome.
Subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook.
Subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook.
Don't know if it's like or follow.
Because we have lots of exciting things happening in the next couple months, and we want you to be able to come along with us in our journey. So follow us, find us. We love you, and have a great Easter. Enjoy, you know what? Jesus dying on the cross for us.
And picture it too, because you won't understand the real meaning until you actually picture it.
Picture it. And that is just an emotional time, isn't it, Madison? What God's done for us and dying on the cross. And 3 days later, we rose again. And why? So we can have eternity to live with him. It's so important. It's so important, isn't it? Thank you, Priscilla, for joining us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God's timing is perfect, and Madison's is too. So she has to say so long for a while, because she's getting ants in her pants. Hey. So we love you, and never forget, little is much when God is in it. So trust him and know that he's got great plans for you. We love you. Hugs from Canada.